Hey 4-Hers, welcome back to the 4-H Live Learning Series. Are you interested in learning more about the side of 4-H known as civic engagement? Are you curious about what kinds of skills every 4-Her can learn and be ready with for that big meeting or that opportunity to network with important leaders? Do you want to know how to put your best foot forward in virtually any public situation? If so, then I invite you to stick around because that's what we're going to learn by doing today on this segment of 4-H Live. Hello, I'm Steve Hennis, State 4-H Specialist, and I'm excited to invite you to join us for today's topic. Today we're going to be talking about civic skills and public etiquette. I'd like to introduce you to your civic challenge, public skills and etiquette every 4-Her can master. These activities we will do today are from a new guide for 4-H clubs that is being tried and will be ready this fall. If you're interested, you too can try out some of these activities and lessons with your club, and we'll help you find out how to access it at the end of the demonstration. Today we're going to take a look at what civic engagement is in 4-H. We'll explore the different kinds of things you can learn by doing that put you in the game, as it were, as an active, engaged citizen in your community. We'll learn at least 3 public etiquette skills you can easily master and teach to others in your club or county. And we'll ask you about things you can do and places you can go next to continue your civic engagement adventure in 4-H. So what do you say? Are you ready? Let's start off by first talking about skills and all kinds of skills that can be learned through 4-H. Sometimes, though, we may feel like the things that we're good at, the things that we like, and the things that are useful just never overlap. But 4-H really encourages exploration and trying new things until you find that spark or that passion project that you really want to pursue. And we hope that maybe today you'll find something related to civic engagement that really is exciting and that you would like to learn more about. You know, we talk to a lot of people who will say, hey, I learned that in 4-H, and it's stuff that's relevant, stuff that's useful both right now in their lives, but also well into the future. And it's things like public speaking, parliamentary procedure, etc. And a lot of those things are from civic engagement. So what are civic engagement skills that every 4-H member can master or learn by doing? And what is etiquette? How can we put our best foot forward in public, say, when meeting an important leader, such as the governor, or a county commissioner, or a business leader, or some other influential person that you'd really like to make a good impression on? As we move forward, let's first, though, talk about what is civic engagement. Civic engagement is one of the original mission mandates from National 4-H at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And a mission mandate means that 4-H thought that civic engagement was so important for all young people that they made it a permanent part of 4-H for your grandparents' generation, for you, and for generations of 4-Hers still to come. 4-H civic engagement involves working to make a positive difference in your community and developing the combination of knowledge and skills and values and motivation to make that difference. The 4 areas of civic engagement are leadership, civic education, service, and community engagement that you see summarized here. 4-H prepares you to connect, to learn, to engage, to lead, and impact your community and your world. Young people develop leadership skills, learn about government and public issues through civic education, form a sense of responsibility, think critically about the world through service, and partner with adults to help lead community change that benefits everyone. And every 4-H member deserves a basic understanding of civic knowledge and skills to support being that active citizen. Every young person can receive the same knowledge and skills to represent themselves in 4-H at public events, with government leaders, and at county, state, and national 4-H conferences, events, and competitions. Activities like these that we're going to be doing today can be a launching pad also for 4-H demonstrations and individual or group projects related to civics. So if you're looking for ideas, maybe there are some things perhaps today that we'll talk about. You may also want to ask the question of which of the 4-H's apply most to civic engagement. Is it the head, is it the heart, the hands, or the health? And really the answer is all 4. In terms of head, it is through the civic knowledge that we gain. The heart is through the caring about others in the community, the country, and the world. Hands through civic skills that you can put to use. And health because being active in a local club and community actually contributes to living a healthy life, making positive connections, and experiencing greater well-being. So all that's really summed up here in this diagram of the four-legged stool of civic engagement. So, are you ready to jump in and try some skills? Let's go to the first one. Skill number 1 is about flag etiquette. So put yourself in this situation. Say you are setting up for your 4-H club meeting and need to set up the United States and the 4-H flags correctly. Which side of the officer table or speaker podium do you display each flag? Does the U.S. flag go on the left or does it go on the right? How about the 4-H flag? Is it on the left or is it on the right? And how do you know? Some of you may have a quick answer for that, and others may be thinking about it. As you're thinking about it, let me share with you a little bit about flag etiquette. Did you know that there are rules for displaying and handling the flag at your 4-H club meetings? And knowing these rules will help you demonstrate patriotism and respect toward those who have sacrificed for our freedom. Some 4-H clubs even elect a flag bearer, and the flag bearer is responsible for the club's flags. This includes making sure the flags are at all club functions and that they're displayed correctly and that they're given proper respect. So if you've had some time to consider, let's take a look at the answers. If you said that the U.S. flag should be displayed on the speaker's right and the 4-H flag on the speaker's left, that's correct. As you can see in the picture here, the officers are at the table leading the 4-H meeting, and the U.S. flag is on the right and the 4-H flag is on the left. So how did that come to be, and how can we remember next time we do the setup? Some tips to remember would include, with the U.S. flag, to think speaker stage right. On the right-hand side, or thinking about the right hand, that usually represents power or government authority, such as a president or a governor or an elected official. And so the U.S. flag goes on that side, as the speaker is facing the crowd, speaker stage right. For the 4-H flag, you can think speaker stage left, where the left hand can represent members who make up the body of the group who votes, or those 4-H club members. So here's another photo that shows from the speaker or officer table view with the U.S. flag on the right or on the left. So that's one simple skill that can be put to use, of course, in every 4-H club meeting. And of course, there's a lot more that goes to flag etiquette, such as should flags be flown in the rain? Should they be flown at night? What do you do when a flag is worn out or torn? And how do you lower a flag? And what's important to consider there? So with this activity, you'll find that there is more that you can learn. And you can also check out U.S. flag etiquette rules and guidelines as a source where you can get answers to those questions. Let's go on, as we finish out this one, though, to talk about etiquette. And the basic question of what is etiquette probably comes to mind. And we can think about that in terms of just the rules about how things are done, according to tradition and according to what is good and orderly and expected in many of the situations that we are in. So why do you think there are correct and incorrect ways to set up and handle flags? Again, it goes back, I think, to showing respect, patriotism, and kind of those common values that we as American citizens share. Where else do you see etiquette in use? You might be thinking about perhaps the table or a formal dinner where we think about how to use utensils and the setting that is provided for a great meal. And where else might you find flag etiquette? Be interested to hear your ideas, but I tend to think of memorials. I tend to think of the 4th of July and some of those activities that are very important to our community and to our country. So each of these activities will have a civic challenge that comes along with it, and this is something that you can challenge yourself to do or challenge your 4-H members to do. For this one, it involves keeping track of the places you go and see that have the U.S. flag or Missouri flag on display. And especially note, how is flag etiquette being used? Hopefully it is. And ask yourself what message is being communicated by the proper display and treatment of the flags. All right, let's move on to a new skill. Skill number 2 is name tag and lapel pin. But put yourself in this situation. You are about to attend a 4-H banquet, and you want to know which side of your jacket, lapel, or shirt to place your name tag and lapel pin on. Does the lapel pin go on the left or on the right? And how about your name tag? On the left or the right? And how do you know? As you're thinking about that, let's hear a little bit more about etiquette in this skill area. Many people speculate on which side of a shirt or jacket to place a name tag. Some say the name tag should be placed on the right side since you shake with your right hand and the direct line of sight leads straight to your name. Others follow the logic that you should wear the name tag on the left side since you shake with your right hand and tend to cover up your name tag as you shake. So which is correct? Let's take a look. So if you said that the name tag should generally be worn above the pocket on the right side of the shirt, the blouse, or the blazer, that would be correct. And the lapel pin, if you said generally worn on the left side of the jacket or the side nearest your heart, that also would be correct. So let's unpack these a little bit further. In the United States, proper etiquette states the name tag should be worn above the pocket on the right side of your shirt, blouse, or blazer. The key to remember, as mentioned above, is you want people you are meeting to make direct eye contact with you and see your name as you shake hands. And for the lapel pin, the correct location is the left side of a jacket. You can think of it as the side nearest your heart, since it is likely the pin you are wearing is something near and dear to your heart, like 4-H. The United States Flag Code Section 8J states on wearing an American flag pin, the flag represents a living country and is itself considered a living thing. Therefore, the lapel flag pin, being a replica, should be worn on the left lapel near the heart. So these again are common etiquette for public situations, and your takeaway or your civic challenge is to observe where people wear a lapel pin and or a name tag. Are they following the common rules, or maybe is there an exception? What does it communicate to others when you've given thought to how you wear your name tag and lapel pin? And also consider, are there careers that interest you in which you may need to wear a name tag or a lapel pin? Perhaps a doctor, a teacher, an engineer, or other careers that may require a name tag and that you are interested in pursuing. Finally, let's move on to one more skill area, and this is skill number 3, introductions and handshakes. So put yourself in the situation that you are at a 4-H regional event or state conference and are in a group of new 4-H members. The group needs to get to know each other, and you decide to take the lead and make those introductions and shake hands, but everyone is standing around. What do you do? And what would be common etiquette? Introductions and handshakes are a vital skill to have when in leadership roles and also in a career. You will meet and work with new people regularly, and it's important to make a good first impression. What we're going to do today is to consider the pause, part, and punch approach to introductions by Dale Carnegie. No, we're not going to harm anyone, but instead show confidence in our introductions. So let's take a look at these steps. For pause, when someone asks your name or it is the appropriate place in the interaction to introduce yourself, begin with, "My name is," and then stop for a moment. So, my name is Truman. The pause keeps you from doing what so many people do, and that is running the introduction into your first name. The part then is, once you have paused, to state your first name clearly and then stop again. You want a clear part between your first and last name. This means waiting another moment before saying your last name. Placing a part between the first and last name means that they do not run together and it's easier for other people to hear both. You make it easy for your audience. If you have a first or last name with multiple words, then you'll use a part between each one. So you might say, my name is Truman, the tiger. And then punch. Finally, be sure to punch out your last name. Most people tend to lower their energy and volume when they get to the end of their name. You can avoid this by making a conscious effort to punch out your last name. This doesn't mean you're going to yell, but you do want to emphasize your last name so people do not miss it. So once again, my name is Truman, the tiger. Let's talk about where handshakes are appropriate. There's really lots of places. When you introduce yourself for the first time, when you enter a room and there is a group of people who you have not met yet. Also, when leaving an event, it's very appropriate to say goodbye, especially to those that you would like to stay in contact with. Congratulating someone, for instance, someone who has received an award or recognition. And also reaching an agreement. Perhaps you can think of other places as well where it'd be appropriate to extend a handshake. And let's talk about, for a moment, just how to do that. So, a handshake guide. The first step is to be shoulder to shoulder with the person that you are going to shake hands with. This shows you're confident and you're eager to greet them. Your right hand should be free, and you extend your hand with the thumb up and fingers out. And then the goal is to meet your hand, their hand, web to web, which is the web of your hand between your thumb and index finger, contacting the web of the other person's hand, just as in the photo to the right. You grip the other person's handshake firmly, but do not squeeze it. And try to avoid the dead fish, which you see on the right. 2 smooth pumps from the elbow rather than the wrist, and that completes the handshake. So for this skill area, we want to emphasize that due to the social distancing guidelines that we are all under, safety first. So you may need to practice your introductions for now with others in your household. And when it is safe to do so again, practice with others at 4-H activities, school and work, and the places we are all seeking to get back to as soon as possible. As you do this, consider what went well and what could you do differently. How do others handle their introductions and their handshakes that make an impression on you? And there are many ways you can pick up tips and tricks from others as you go that you will also want to incorporate. So there they are, 3 civic skills and public etiquette that every 4-H'er can master and also teach and pass on to others. We've quickly looked at flag etiquette. We've looked at the placement of name tag and lapel pin, and also handshakes and introductions, and how to make that good first impression on that person that you're meeting. Of course, there are many other skills that we could talk about as well, and as mentioned at the beginning, there's much that you can do in 4-H related to civic engagement. Here are just a few other ideas you might consider going forward. If you like games, online games, you might check out icivics.org, where you can find a wide range of games that put you in the place of making a Supreme Court decision, passing bills, and putting our democratic form of government into work. How about field trips or tours? Consider maybe a tour of your county courthouse, public works department, sheriff's office or the jail, 911, dispatch center, or even a tour of the state capitol or the University of Missouri. Many places you can go that really help to bring civic engagement alive. And as you get to know the leaders who are in these places, you can't help but have a newfound respect for what they do, and also perhaps see yourself in a position like that in the future. And then there's the bicentennial coming up in August of 2021. And many communities around Missouri are going to be holding festivals, special events, historical events, to commemorate our state's 200th birthday. As we gear up for the bicentennial 2021, you might consider 4-H projects that could lend in to the celebration. For instance, oral history projects or capturing stories from elders that you know. Maybe collecting or burying a time capsule. Researching your family or farm name and history. Or collecting artifacts and a permanent part of Missouri's history. These are just a few ideas that you might consider as you think about your 4-H projects going forward. As we mentioned, the skills that we've looked at today and the activities come from a new resource called the 4-H Civic Engagement Skills Guide. And again, these are things every 4-H'er can learn, master, and pass on to others. There are 13 activities in all that can be used by clubs, school or after-school programs, spin clubs, and councils. And each of them is about 15 or 20 minutes each, perfect to fit inside a business meeting. They can be led by a young person or an adult, and again, fit inside your regular meeting schedule. If you're interested in this resource and would like to check it out, contact your county 4-H staff. And again, look for it on the 4-H website beginning this fall with the new enrollment year of 2020. Some of the activities that you will find in the topics, in addition to those that we touched upon today, include writing to a legislator, how to make a motion, writing memorable personal thank you notes, distinguishing between the different levels of government, Missouri state symbols, the 6 pillars of character and how they apply to work in 4-H, appreciating diversity and culture, mapping community assets and opportunities, and also civility and how to talk when stakes are high. We hope you check out that resource and put it to use with your 4-H group. But most importantly, consider what golden opportunities you see for yourself in 4-H related to civic engagement. What are you curious about or interested in learning more? And what is your next step? In 4-H, the possibilities are virtually limitless. And remember, as we said at the beginning of the call, it may seem like the things that are useful, the things we're good at, the things that we like are far apart, but 4-H can be a place where all of those come together. And again, we find our spark, we find our passion that we can pursue. So I want to thank you again for being with us today during 4-H Live Learning. And as we go forward, we'd like to consider, what did you learn from these activities? Why do you think it's important to know skills like this and public etiquette? Where else do you think you could use things like this that you've learned? And again, how might you share what you've learned with others? Thank you again for joining us today for 4-H Live Learning, Civic Skills and Public Etiquette. Hope you have a great day and keep making the best better through 4-H.